Hello, hello. Hello. Jet Set, Anna. Hey, guys. You're just finishing dinner, Jet Set? No worries. Hi, Nimir. Good to see you. How are you? We had tacos for dinner. My husband was an absolute gem and had them ready for me when I got home from work at like 5:30. They were basically ready. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're the best. Also, I just realized how much I like blend into my background. Look at this. I've got like my Optimus jumper on and it's yellow and it's... I'm very yellow. Hello, Shady. Hi, Joe. Trying to get used to your new job? Oh, that sounds... Mashed banana. Mashed banana, mashed banana. That sounds stressful, Nima. I hope it's going okay. New jobs can be challenging. Meat pies and 3 veg. Yum. Yummy, yummy. Yeah, we had some lovely tacos that Paul made. They're really good. Mellow yellow. Well, see, the thing is, I am Little Miss Sunshine, so I'm all yellow. But I hope everybody's had a good day. I've had such a big day. I know. Yeah, I left morning Nini. I left for work at like 8:15 in the morning, and then I got home at 5:30, 5:45. So it was a big day. I did make a few pit stops on the way home though. Like I stopped at Spotlight. And then I went to Woolies because Paul rang and was like, I need tomatoes for the tacos. And I was like, okay. So yeah. So lovely and sunny here, so that matches. That's good, Shady. And how are you feeling, lovely? How is your head today? 7:34 here. Yeah, 7:04 here. 7:04 here for me. But yeah, it was a big day, so I'm a little tired, but I'm super pumped to stream. See if we can figure out everything else for Polgannon. Oh my gosh. I might just also need to grab a little pillow for my back because it's a bit sore after all the driving today. So I may have to just go and grab a pillow. Hey Milo, good to see you. How you doing? But yeah, I hope you're feeling okay, Shady. I'm just gonna grab a pillow off of my couch. Hold on, guys. Ooh. Fluffy pink pillow because that's the best kind of pillow to have. Still feeling weirdly fuzzy in the head. Took a quick test this morning. You're still testing positive. Oh, bugger. I'll have to stay in ISO. Yeah. Thank you, Nini. Yeah, I've had it. It was a good day. It was a long day. But yeah, I got asked to step in and work today because no one else was available, and they were like, "We know you're technically kind of sorta on maternity leave, but like, do you reckon you could come in?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, it's fine. I could probably continue to do random days here and there for the next couple of weeks, if I'm being completely honest." Yeah. Oh, you're coming home from uni, Milo? Nice. Hope you had a good day at uni. You guys all had it in March. Yeah. Hopefully you feel better soon, Shady. That's okay. At least you've got some nice live streams to entertain you while you're in ISO, right? some virtual company. At least that's what I tell myself, that I'm providing a virtual social circle for all of us socially awkward people and people in ISO. So I had, I was going to show you guys a funny photo. We had our second parenting class last night, and Paul came with me this time, which was really nice. So we could, yeah, we're just going to like a local group, to learn how to be parents. And, we got to play with some little baby dolls last night, like little fake babies, you know what I mean? You didn't have streaming years ago, yeah. So I thought I would just show you guys this. This was my baby boy. And I sent this as a Snapchat to my best friend. I was like, he looks just like me, because he had like these big blue eyes. So we were practicing like diaper changing and swaddling and just handling babies and stuff. I thought it was funny. I was like, I amuse myself. You watched all the Pleasant View, Blue Water Village and Stardew Valley videos in ISO. Oh, I'm so glad, Nini. You had a good time then. Not quite the same, no. No, definitely not. Definitely not quite the same. But it was pretty fun anyway. It was good. It was good. Trying to get baby arms into those sleepers. Yeah, that's what our midwife was telling us. Like that Sarah is the name of the lady who is running the class for us, and she was saying now it's a lot harder because they wiggle. And she's like, it's a lot harder with a live baby because they wiggle. We were like, yeah. And then so Paul, while I was trying to dress this baby doll, Paul grabbed the doll and just started like wiggling it around. I was like, thanks, honey. Thanks for that extra dose of realism. It's pretty funny. But guess what? So I was sharing with the class that I made that little baby Yoda toy. And we have a little Facebook group chat that we're all in, so we can all talk to each other about our babies and stuff. And one of the other mama to be's messaged me today being like, do you reckon you'd be able to make a toy for my baby? And I was like, sure. So now I've got a new crochet project. I'm very excited. Yeah, I've got to start production. But she wants a little cow toy for the baby. So, hey, thank you so much for the follow, Mason Shane. Appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. How fragile they are. Yeah. Well, actually, Sarah said they're tougher than you think. Oh, posture check. Thank you. I'll adjust my adjust my pillow here behind my back. Yeah, Sarah was saying, you know, that they're actually less fragile than we think. And I was like, well, they come out they have a pretty tough time of it being born. So if they can make it through that, you know, fairly awful experience, I'm sure they're okay. Put your hand in the wrist or ankle, push the sleeve or leg onto your hand, then grab the hand and unpeel the garment onto them. I get you, Jet Set, sorry. I hear you. Should see how maternity nurses handle them? Yeah. We're told working in pediatrics is a lot like being a vet because the patients move, scream, and might even bite. So babies are basically like dogs, I suppose. Fair. Yeah, wrinkle the sleeve down. Yeah. We'll figure it out. Yeah, no, I hear you, Milo, I hear you. One of the other mamas was like, saying, you know, I think I'm just going to be so scared to like just touch and handle my baby. And Sarah was like, you'll get over that. It'll be fine. So, that's right, Jitset, that's right. Yeah, handling is good for them, for sure. For sure. But so I'll show you guys a picture. I picked out a little cow pattern to make for the girl who wants one. So I'm gonna attempt to make this cow right here, and it looks really hard and oops, hello, really cute, and I'm very excited. So far I've made 2 horns. So I've made the little horns that are gonna go on the head. Cause yeah, she really wanted a little cow toy for her daughter who's gonna be born in maybe like 4 weeks or so. She's a bit further along than me. So crochet project, yay! Me just geeking out. Oh, I get to crochet more. Yeah, it's so cute, right? Your son was only 5'4". My daughter was huge at 8'12". Yeah, your daughter was like massive compared to your son. My goodness. I haven't had an update on Jelly's size. Thank you, Jitset. Yeah, the pattern's a little more complicated than the Baby Yoda one was, but I think I can figure it out. I'm getting like each little thing that I try to do, I'm getting better. So I think I can do it. They may not get his size, right? Yeah, no, last time was at my 20-week scan, and they said 75th percentile, and like I'm now 30 weeks, so that was like 10 weeks ago was my last scan, and like my doctor says I'm measuring fine and I'm measuring normal, but that doesn't really give me that much of an indication, so I don't know. I hope he's not gonna be huge, but my mum had 4 huge babies, so I'm just like, okay. A friend of mine had 3 children. The first was handled like a raw egg as a baby. The third one was handled more like a rock. That's funny. Yes, Paul and I are both tall people. Paul is substantially taller than me. Paul's like over 6 foot. My mum had, yeah, like 9 and 10 pound babies. So, we'll see. We'll see how we go. Expect him to be a chunker. Yeah. Oh, you did, Anna. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Well, keep us updated on Discord of what you decide to make. Do you have any thoughts on what you'd like to try to crochet? I really, really recommend it just as like a Zen activity. Just to take your mind out of super fast, crazy mode. If your mind gets like mine, where you're just like, oh my God, my brain just won't stop. Yeah, just to Zen and chill, focus, let the hours just melt away. He might be long but skinny. Yeah, hopefully. We'll have to see. I don't know when I start getting like a better idea of how big he's gonna be. Like, I don't know if you guys can tell me in chat. Start simple shapeless thingies. Yeah, just start like practicing all the different stitches and stuff. You want to crochet toys? Nice. Yeah, so what I did, because I learned to crochet a long time ago, like 15 years ago. So what I did was I just did a little like self-refresher course. So I just went on YouTube and looked up a bunch of videos of like how to do a single crochet, how to do a double, how to do a half double, how to do a triple, like how to make a ring and crochet in a circle. And yeah, like I have all these like random scraps of crochet around the house right now from me just practicing. But yeah, it's nice. It is really, really nice thing to just do. What do you mean you're looking for a game to capture? Okay. Oh, there it is. Right. My computer was being weird. Okay, so here's Polgannon. And I'm just going to move myself back over because I moved myself for the stream. The Winklecher stream. I moved myself, so there we go. Okay, so yeah, here's Polgannon. And then we've also got our... You have very little idea who did it, yeah. Fair enough. We've also got our cross-check motives, location evidence, and physical evidence sheet that we've been slowly but surely filling in. So this is what we really started working on very heavily last time. So we're trying to find gaps, inconsistencies, all that kind of thing in people's stories. Probably the butler, yes, maybe. Because the butler did it. You tried knitting and found it a bit too complicated. Is crocheting easier in your experience? No. I think knitting's easier. I don't know. Jet Set, what do you think about that? I know how to knit, but not crochet. Crochet's like... Actually, you know what I would say, Nini, is like knitting is easy, like, well, not easy, but knitting is one thing. Crocheting in a square is fairly simple. It's a lot faster, Joe. Yeah, for sure. Crocheting in a square is pretty all right. It's pretty easy. It's not too complicated. Crocheting in a circle, that takes a bit more practice. And that's what a lot of the toy making is crocheting in a circle. Anyway, so yeah, we've been filling this in basically, and we're trying to get it all squared away and work out where everyone was at what time and at what point. And so far our leading kind of theory is that Cedric was definitely involved. Is his name Cedric? I forget. The creepy dude. You guys know who I mean. Yeah, Cedric Chesney. We reckon he was definitely involved. We don't think that he actually committed the murder itself, but we think he might have like orchestrated it, because, and I was thinking about it after we streamed last week, and I was like, well, Cedric would consider himself far too like holy and pious to actually, you know, like stab a man, I think. But I definitely believe he would, you know, put someone else up to it, because we think Cedric was sort of, yeah, like the brain behind it, and he tried very hard to frame Rose and Nancaro as the perpetrator. Hey, game fan, good to see you. Oh, it was hurting your hands. You need to get more ergonomic. Yeah, I got some of these. I'll just go back to this screen for a second so you can see. These crochet hooks with like a really nice big thick handle, which I find a lot nicer than the traditional crochet hooks, which are like these really thin metal ones. So you can kind of see there like the difference in the comfort of just like holding these compared to holding these is, yeah, it's substantial. Yeah, fair enough, Jitset. Okay, so I think Maxim last time was telling us that we should jump in and double check what's his name's statement? Jory Bascowan's statement? Handle, yeah, the handle's like way more comfortable. I'm good, thank you, EA Game Fan. Yeah, I'm doing well. Sorry, I'm so distracted because I'm half talking about crocheting and half talking about the game. But you can order yourself, I got these from Spotlight, or you can order like yourself a kit of these off of Amazon or something like that. And yeah, they're really nice. But yeah, so I think we're gonna check in with Jory Bascowan, because he is Cedric Chesney's neighbor. And we were thinking maybe he would have some insight into what Cedric was up to on the day of the murder. So we're going to load into Jory's house. Anne and Carlos are doing a crochet along on YouTube. They hold the yarn differently. That might help me too. Oh yeah, fair enough. I don't think I hold my yarn proper. Anyway, Polgannon, yeah. Exactly, Jitset, exactly. So I do also have open here the, like I have all of the pictures, so we can look at them all zoomed in from the family stories. So I've got that sort of open and ready to go. Okay, so what we were kind of doing was having a look through, like double checking everybody's, yeah, we need to hunt for clocks, yeah. So we were double checking everybody's bios, we were double checking everybody's family stories, and just, yes, slowly but surely filling in this this spreadsheet. Also, I'm sorry this is so bright, this sheet. I should make it darker. But, yeah, so let's just double check, first of all, Jory's bio, so his stream of consciousness. So he says, got to get the boat ready for tonight. Rosen's still a lovely woman. I ain't going back to jail, no way. Police crawling all over the place. Have to go back for the stash later. Should never have left them by the stones. Bad place for it. So we did work out that that was alcohol. There was a stash of alcohol hidden up near the pole stones. Then we've got, that's a nice cat at Isla's. I'm glad the dressing worked and he's on the mend again. And then we've got Bosun's a little devil sometimes, going after Cedric like that. Heh, the lad's a riot at times. So Bosun is his dog. So he was laughing at his dog going after Cedric. And then we've got, well, the old sod is dead and good riddance. He can't send me back to jail now anyhow. So that's all that. So I remember what I ended up doing last time was actually making this screen bigger for you guys as well. So let's just maybe kind of do that again. So Jory's upbringing was a hard and deprived one. His father was killed early on in Jory's life. He was raised by his mother. She had so little money she needed to go out to work, and Jory was left to fend for himself much of the time. The one bright spot in his life was Rose and Nan Caro, whom he loved with all his heart. Motive, yes, that he didn't want to go back to prison. Whoa, that's a bit zoomed in now. So, let me find Jory. Here he is. If I make this, try to make this fit a little better for you guys to be able to see it. I'm struggling with my life, but that's okay. There we go. Okay. So I think this one here is the motives column. So motive, Blaze back to jail. There we go. Okay. Then Blaze Penhaligon came into Jory's life and completely into Rosen's life and completely turned her head. Blaze often met her up by the stone circle and Jory couldn't help himself, but he had to follow them and see what they were doing. He didn't like it. He hated Blaze Penhaligon for it. So this is Jory creeping in the background here like a werewolf. Spying on, Oh, okay, no worries, Jet Set, yeah. Yeah, so there's a sort of a secondary motive there, which was that, jealousy. Proper creeping, yeah, of Blaze. Love triangle with, I can't type, Rosen. There we go. Okay. After that, in bitterness at his loss, Jory turned to the kind of work his father and grandfather did, smuggling, sailing off the coast in his little boat and picking up contraband goods at sea. He was caught numerous times. To his chagrin, Blaze Penhaligon, as well as being the local landowner, was also a recorder, a local judge. Blaze never had an opportunity to turn the knife with his rival. Turn the knife. Interesting choice of words there. Turn the knife. The last time Jory appeared in Blaze's court, he said, "If I see you here one more time in this court, I will see to it that you do not come out of prison for a very long time, Bascowan." Unfortunately, a few months after his release, Jory was caught once more by Constable Warren as he came ashore and stored his smuggled goods in a hidden stash. Okay. So I'm not sure that doesn't actually give us anything else on Cedric, unfortunately. He doesn't like Cedric. They don't have a positive relationship, so that's probably something to note. Otherwise, I don't know what else I'm meant to be looking for exactly here. Pictures. There wasn't much to them. Most of them were from, like, the past. So this picture just has Jory and then Brayok Warren busting him. This one's like in the courthouse. We've got Jory standing here, Blaze Penhaligon in the judge's seat, and Brayok Warren over there as the constable. That's just a picture of him by his boat near the sea. And then, yeah, this one of him creeping up by the pole stones like a werewolf. Yeah. I don't know about that. No clocks, no. Alright, so I know you guys can only see a very small part of the screen right now. I'm just gonna go back to Ruin Roscarrick, because we never really finished re-examining all of his statements. So I wanted to go back to this family. So this stream tonight is going to be a lot of just like loading families and checking on stories and stuff like that. But that's okay, right? So I'm trying to just remember where we got up to. I think it was past here. I think it was this one. Jory Bascowan, because we were looking at the clock in his window, if you guys remember. So, yeah, so Jory Bascowan, his statement says, I were working on me boat. She developed a leak, see? Took a while. I were working all afternoon on it at the Haven. What do you mean I wasn't there? Ha, that constable of yourn don't know nothing. He'd mistake a haddock for a place, he would. Well, I did take her out for a bit to check the repair was holding, didn't I? Must have been then he came nosing around. Makes sense, at least for them as can see it. Then I did a spot of fishing for my tea, caught a nice pair of dab. Later on, Seth came by and helped me pack up the boat. We went to the pub. Thomas was there, and Caddock, of course. Seth and me went to my house then. He went up on a ladder and fixed my guttering as I'd asked him to, and I cooked us them dab for dinner. He's a good lad, is Seth. He could be lying. We need to look at Seth, yeah. So far in Jory's sort of timeline here. So he said he was out for, or like working on his boat. Leak his boat. That's his claim, that's his statement. The problem is he's very vague. He doesn't actually really give a lot of like information about time and timings and stuff. He said he like took boat out to test the leak repair. And then Seth met him at the docks at this time, which is 4 p.m. And then they went fishing for dinner. And then they said they went to the pub for a drink. And he said that Caddock Morgan was there and also Thomas Cardew, the butler. Yeah, Thomas were there and Caddock, of course. So I'll write that in. And then 6:30, they were back at Jory's house. Seth fixing... Yeah, we need to double check everyone. Seth fixing roof. And there's a pic of living room clock. Okay, so... Where's Thomas? Yeah, so he said he was at the pub. Back at the pub 4:30. Still at the pub at 5. Still at the pub. Met up with Seth and Jory at 5:30. They went back home at 6. Now I think Jory, Cedric, and the butler. Maybe. Maybe, Joe. Could be. All right, so that's Jory done though. Okay, so then we have Caddick Morgan. So Caddick is the owner of the pub. So he sees a lot of people come and go throughout the day. So he'll be able to verify, I feel, a lot of the other people's stories. Plus, we do have a nice big clock on the wall right here. So this picture is 5:30 p.m. and we have Seth and Jory standing right here. And this is also Thomas at the bar. So this afternoon, well, I was here, wasn't I? This pump don't run itself. And a landlord's place is behind the bar. Well, actually, now you say it, I did go out. I went to see Mr. Nichols, the solicitor, about a contract for my lease here as needs amending. That was 2 o'clock. Okay, so let's find Caddick on here. Okay, so he was at the pub. Wait, so 2 o'clock. Went to see... What was that guy's name? Oh yeah, Marek Nichols. His lease. Okay, and then he said, that was 2 o'clock. I had to hurry back because I was expecting a delivery from the brewery at 2:45. Kaya Piran was here minding the bar while I was out. He's my main barman. You still have no idea, Jitset? It is confusing. Then he was pretty much at the pub. Then I was here for the afternoon and evening. Thomas came in for a beer about 4:30 p.m. He was lucky. Hedra had passed and looked in a few minutes earlier. She don't like him coming in here, but he missed her. Jory, Basgowan and Seth Nankara came in too, 5:30 p.m. perhaps. They left about 6:30. Jory said something about fish and guttering. I never really understand what he's on about. Thomas... No idea, but he went before Seth and Jory left. It was a quiet night till your lot showed up anyway. Okay, so he was at pub pretty much the whole night. We are guessing. Oops. Okay. So he said... Seth and Jory left around this time. So that does sort of verify their statement. And then he said that Thomas was in for a beer at 4:30. And 5:30, Thomas, Seth, and Jory all seen at the pub. Hello, Pastel Pixie, from a fellow Adelaidean. Hey, welcome. So glad to have you here. How's your day been? Welcome. A fellow Adelaidean. That's so cool. I was in Adelaide all day today because I was working. I don't actually live there anymore, though. I live out of town, in the country. Okay. So Thomas's statement, I think, then about being in at 4:30 is verified. Yeah, back at the pub for another sly one. Yes, welcome to our Aussie stream. Aussie and Europe. That's what we have in chat today. Okay, cool. Righto, so next we have Melon Morgan, who is, of course, the pub owner's wife. Okay, so, well, sir, I went shopping to the baker's and then stepped into Nessa's place for a chat. Then I went to the Boathouse Cafe to meet Hedra at 3 p.m. We had tea and cakes and watched Jory's boat coming into the haven. Okay, so that's interesting. That's something to note. So Melon, let's start filling her in. Okay, so she says, about town. So she went to the baker's. Stepped into Nessa's place for a chat. Yeah, exactly, Joe. Boat coming in. Oh, have you really, Pixie? How fun! I hope you enjoy it. Which farm layout have you decided to go with for expanded? I love Stardew Valley. It's so relaxing. Okay, so I'm thinking that this picture here is of her maybe chatting with Nessa. Who's Nessa? I forget who Nessa is. Oh my gosh, there's so many characters to try to keep a record of. It's very confusing. Okay, I gotta see if I can remember who Nessa is. I know it must be like extra confusing for you guys because you aren't even playing. Hey Nova, how you doing? Thinking Grandma's Farm? Yeah, I mean Grandpa's Farm. That's a good one. I would do Grandpa's Farm. The Immersive Farm 2 is the one I picked and it's too big. It's too much. We need them alphabetical. I really need to just like move this whole thing into an Excel spreadsheet rather than Microsoft Word. Because Microsoft Excel is a lot more like flexible with how you can sort everything. You are awake by my nighttime? Well, it's 7:38 p.m. here. So I don't know what time it is for you, but that's what time it is for me. Ah, here we go. Nessa Warren. Oh, okay. So I'll just put a note in here. Melon over to chat with a question mark. Okay. So that's Brayok's wife. Right. I'm with you. I follow. Okay, so then I went to the Boathouse Cafe to meet Hedra at 3 p.m. We had tea and cakes and watched Jory's boat coming into the haven. We walked up to the school and said goodbye at the Nichols house. We could see Sonara's great backside sticking out a flower bed as usual. So that's her there. Mind you, she has a lovely garden, always wins first prize at the annual show. I don't think she saw us. Once she gets going, she's lost to the world. That garden means everything to her. Well, that and her son, not that he's much to be proud of. I went off along Church Lane. Got home around 3:45. Okay, so... Oh, yeah, no, I'm on it. Okay, so she was at the Boathouse Cafe with Hedra for tea and cake and watched Jory's boat come into the haven. Okay, so that means that Jory... Where's Jory? Boat was seen coming into the haven. It would have been, I guess, sometime between 3 and 3:30 p.m. 5 a.m. where you are? Oh my gosh, Nova. That's crazy early. What are you doing awake at 5? Or have you slept or have you, like, been awake all night? That's nuts. So, yeah, I guess here where he took the boat out to test the repair was actually a bit earlier. Yeah. Okay. So then, yeah, they said goodbye near Sonara's house, which would have been at about 3:30. So that's... Where am I? Melon. Okay, so... No. They had tea at 3. 3 p.m. Jet Set. 3 p.m. It's so much to keep track of. Oh my goodness. So walked up to the church, the school, sorry. And said goodbye to Hedra outside Sonara's house. Got home 3:45 p.m. Yeah, no, sorry, 3. My bad. Okay, so then she says at 4 o'clock, went out to tell Tamara, who was playing on the green, to go for her piano lesson. Okay, so she went to the green to send Tamara to piano class. She got back just after 4:30. I sent her out again to the pharmacy to pick up some indigestion tablets for Caddock I'd forgotten earlier. Penelope came in later and I cooked dinner. I didn't go out again till I went over to the pub to see if they needed help at the bar. Okay. Oops, I didn't mean to close that. So then went back home. So Tamara, back home, sent her to the pharmacy. She doesn't say what time she went out to see if they needed help at the bar at all, so we just assume she was at home. She said that Penelope came in later and cooked dinner. Okay. There we go. Okay. Next, we have Penelope Morgan. So she was at school and then she went to a training session over at the regiment training grounds in Cahalwyn. My staff sergeant can confirm that. Sergeant, sorry. We finished at 5 and I came home on the bus. I got back about 5:35 p.m. Okay, so she was at school, and then she went to a training session, military training session, I guess. Okay. So, I mean, that was probably still at school, actually. Right, so then we finished at 5 and I came home, got home 5:35. Right. Caught bus home, back home, 5:35 p.m. We had a cup of tea, then I did my homework, and Mum heard Tamara read before she sent her up for her bath. Tamara goes to bed at 8, and Mum went over to the pub then to help out Dad. I watched telly and went to bed later. Okay. So she was at home until... Okay. So I don't think that Melon is at, is suspicious. I think Melon Morgan is one sim, and Penelope and Tamara for that matter as well, and Caddock. Like, I think the whole Morgan family are fairly above suspicion, unless Caddock Morgan snuck out here and did something, got up to no good, but I think he was probably at the bar that whole time. We could actually double check. Where's Thomas? Yeah, everyone sort of says, oh, Caddock was there, Caddock was there, Caddock was there when they say they were at the pub. So I think the Morgan family had nothing to do with it. That's that. I'm gonna call that now. I could be wrong, but yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna go with. Okay, so now here we have a statement from Tamara Morgan and Tegan. So Tamara is actually Abby Cardew's daughter by Blaze Penhaligon, their illegitimate offspring, one of Blaze's illegitimate offspring. And I've actually already filled her statement in. So she was at school, then she went to toy shop and green, she went to her piano lesson. Then she was at home and got up to not much. So that's Tamara pretty much done. The innocent can help. Yeah, definitely. Well, they could give someone an alibi. You know, like if Caddick decided to lie for whatever reason about when someone was at the pub, then he could give someone an alibi, but otherwise, oh, you mean, yeah, they can help us solve the mystery, right? Yeah, no, definitely, and they're good for like verifying other people's stories as well, so that's nice. So Tegan is Brayok and Nessa Warren's daughter, and I haven't filled her in, so let's get an idea of what she was up to. So Tegan, she wants to be an astronaut. Woohoo! Well, the first thing you need to know is that funny things have been happening lately. There's been an increase in hauntings, especially after Mrs. Hammett fell off the cliff. And there's a lot of witchcraft going on. Everyone knows Mrs. Nancarrow is a witch, and that she hated Mr. Penhaligon. She screamed at him once on the high street. We think you should arrest her first. If you don't, there's likely to be a second murder soon. That's what happens in books. Tegan reads a lot of books. Why do you want to know about that? Pretty sure the murderer will be an adult, yeah. But we'll just get an idea of, like, where they say people were, because that can be helpful. So we were in school until 3:15, and then Abby took us to the toy shop and Green. Then Mum said I had to go for my piano lesson with Miss Tremethick at 4, and Tegan went home with her mum. Okay, so Tegan was at school. And then Abby picked up, went to toy store and Green, went home at 4 p.m. So that's 4 p.m. Yep. So she went home. And that's it. Okay. Well, that's not much. Eva Tremethick. Okay. So wait, is there anything? I'm noticing a clock. I'm noticing a clock in Eva's thing. So this one looks like it is 4:30. Yes. Clock! There's a clock! It's 4:30, I'm pretty sure. Oops, light just fell down again. I gotta do something about that light. Whatever. Okay, so... Well, I was due to go out at 2 p.m. to a meeting of the charity I help organise and run, but didn't in the end. The meeting was cancelled. So we were both at home all afternoon. I was upstairs working on a project, and you were somewhere down here, weren't you, Davith? I heard you moving about. Okay, so... I need... Tremethick. Eva. So she was at home... Nah, I'm good. So, charity meeting cancelled. So, it's interesting to note that the charity meeting was cancelled because Blaise Penhaligon probably would have been a chair on that charity. And we know that Eva was most likely the one pilfering money from the charity, and that Blaise, I think, knew about it. And so it's interesting as to how she's saying the meeting got cancelled on the afternoon, obviously, of his murder. So, plus the missing cash. Yeah, so we don't really know still why she took it, but it's a bit sus, you know. I think it's a bit sus. So she says she was at home. But we'll need to verify that because we don't actually know that she was at home, you know? We only... So, yeah, she says, I heard you moving about to Davith. Okay, so, blah-de-blah-de-blah. And then... We don't really open up shop till 4 o'clock, which is when Davith's surgery opens. Tamara comes for a piano lesson at 4 p.m. too on a Tuesday, and then Verity Penhaligon at 4:30. So yeah, this is 4:30 p.m. So that's Tamara leaving from her piano lesson. That is Verity arriving for her piano lesson. And this right here is the kid. What's his name? Oh my gosh, I've forgotten his name. Jow and Hammett. So at 4:30 p.m. he was... No, it's not Seth. Seth's older. Yeah, it's Jow and Hammett. So he was at Eva Tremethic's with Verity Penhaligon. So he was in a photo. So I'm just going to make a note of that. So in terms of Eva lurking around the corner, yeah. So we only know so far that Eva was at home by 4 to do Tamara's piano lesson, right? Okay, and then Verity probably would have taken about half an hour. I know this because my mum's a music teacher, so music lessons go for half an hour. After Verity left, I went into the kitchen to cook dinner for Davith and myself when he finished with his surgery at 6:30 p.m. I usually have time for a bath, which I did. Then Constable Warren came here just after 7:30 and Davith had to go out to the stone circle to, well, confirm that Blaise Penhaligon was in fact dead. Horrible. So, Verity lesson finished. So 5:30 she, I guess, started preparing dinner or had a bath. So one of those things she did, I guess. I'll just put that into both of these columns. And then 6:30 p.m. was dinner with Davith. And then, yeah. So in terms of a motive for her, I'm trying to fill them in when they're applicable, Joe. So I was about to do, yeah, for her. So in terms of a motive for her, so potential motive, she was pilfering money from the charity and Blaise knew about it. Okay. She also doesn't really seem that upset about Blaise dying. Just from the tone of her statement, I don't think she was that cut off. Yeah, we know, we know it's her that's been stealing money. Oh, sorry, David Tremethick, not Davith. Wait, is his name Davith or David? Whatever. Okay, so, moving on to her brother. He says, yes, that's right. We were there all afternoon. I was writing reports and catching up with my records. My surgery started at 4 p.m. Okay. Okay, there's a lot of... Oh, Maxon, hello, you are here. Hi. Welcome. Yeah, it's true, Jet Set, true. So, okay. There's some interesting things that I want to just point out in this picture. This clock is just before 4 p.m. right now, and Eva's walking past the window. I'm just gonna point this out. Eva's outside the window. That's Eva Tremethick right there, and that is Caro Penhaligon, who we know from someone else's statement was here, and they were having a little, you know, a little hookup in Davith's office before he opened up business for the day. So this is interesting to me that she was outside the window. Where was she coming back from or going from? Because she said she was home all afternoon. So this looks like she arrived home from somewhere just before 4 p.m. when Tamara arrived for her piano lesson. I'm just putting that out there. Right? So, okay. So, at home. Sus! I know. Catching up on reports, but I'm going to write in here, Caro P was over. And we know that, I think, from someone's gossip picture. So let me just have a quick look at the gossip pictures. Yeah, here we go. This is the one. So you guys can see this, right? So this is Melon gossiping to Eva Tremathick, I think. So in here is Davith and Caro. And this is Carenza Tremaine outside the door looking quite stressed. Right, so there's some shenanigans going on there in the... Oh, Tehedra. Oh, but that's Eva in the picture. Carenza, yeah. Okay. Well, so this says... This is what I was looking at. It says Melon to Eva. That's what I was looking at, but I don't know. Yeah. So what was she saying to Eva then? Now I have to go back and double check that, because what was she saying, you know? Is the gossip text on Mod The Sims, or do I have to go back into her family to get that? It's in game. Okay. So I'm just going to put that all in there. And then surgery opens... Oh, is that the gossip there, Jenna? Thank you. So, Blaze was a terrible one for pursuing young women. Abby at the manor for one, as you know, and he even showed an interest in our Penelope, if you believe it. He was also messing around with the school teacher. I saw her on the day Blaze was murdered, and she's been looking unhappy lately. It was as I was walking home up Church Lane. She was knocking frantically at the surgery door. I know Davith opens his surgery at 4 p.m, but she was there about 15 minutes before. She should know that. Ah, right. Interesting. Carrie, so 3:45 then. Carenza was knocking on door frantically, and we know this is now because she was pregnant. We know that Carenza was pregnant. She should know that, but she seemed very distressed. I nearly went over to speak to her anyway. There was no answer, although I could have sworn there was someone inside. I saw the curtains move. Yeah. Oh, the plot thickens. I love this. Okay. Okay, so surgery opens at 4 p.m. So in photo, it's like 3:55 p.m. We have Davith opening with a customer, and Eva walking past outside the window. What? Dun dun dun! Maybe Eva had something to do with it, guys. Maybe it was Eva. Maybe Eva was involved because she was lying. She was out. Okay. Interesting. And of course, like, he's just like, oh, yeah, no, sure, we were just home all afternoon doing nothing, because he's trying to cover up for the fact that he has this relationship thing going on with Caro Penhaligon. So that's all their drama. Right? Okay, then my surgery started at 4 and I finished just after 6:30. Eva and I had dinner, and then I was called away by Constable Warren, as Eva said. Eva was teaching after 4 p.m, but I thought I heard you come in just before that, Eva. Oh, how interesting. Okay. So he was working in surgery. And that's probably like fairly believable that he was just working in his surgery until 6:30. So then he had dinner with Eva. So in terms of a potential motive for him murdering Blaze, very little. I don't think he really has much of a motive. I don't think so, yeah. Yeah. But I will put in here in a note that he has a secret relationship with Caro P. Trying to hide it. And that he slightly contradicted Eva's statement. Yeah, fair enough, Jenna. Thank you. Yeah. Hi, Charlotte. How are you doing? Welcome into the stream. We are solving mysteries once again. So, here we go. And then we have an extra thing from Eva here. Okay, so now Eva says, oh yes, you're quite right, Davith. I forgot. I went to the shops about 3 o'clock to get some onions and mushrooms. I had a lovely coffee at the Ginger Cat and a cream cake as a treat. Yes, I'm sorry, Inspector. I should have remembered that. Okay, so... No worries. That's fine, Shala. Enjoy your morning. So... Statement amended. Went to the shops for Ginger Cat Cafe. Okay, so now we kind of, I think she's also having an affair. I don't think she is a murderer. Joe's very suspicious, yeah. So we need to see if there was anyone else at the Ginger Cat Cafe around 3:30 who can confirm that Eva was there. Because if they can confirm that Eva was there, then that's fair. But if not, like, do we have anyone else who was at the Ginger Cat Cafe at this stage? You know what I mean? We have people who are at the Boathouse Cafe. But do we have anyone else who is at the Ginger Cat Cafe? Possibly, but maybe I haven't written it in here yet. Okay. Right. Then we have Arthur Hammett. Okay, so he is... this picture has a clock, everybody, just to point out. So this is Arthur chatting with Nessa Warren at 3:10 in the afternoon. So that's interesting. And in the background we have Constable Warren and Alan Trelawney walking his dog. Okay. So I was in the shop all day. Tuesday's the day I do all the repeat prescriptions sent over from Dr. Tremothick's surgery. My assistant had the afternoon off and I was very busy. Let's see. Griselda, that is the vicar's wife, came in after I reopened at 2 p.m. for some cough medicine. Okay, so let's just have a look here. Oh, she was at the Ginger Cat 2:30. Oh, that doesn't help me. All right. So she said she went to the pharmacy, so that's now confirmed. Okay. So this is Arthur Hammett. So he was... That's why I had all those pose boxes. Yeah. It all makes sense. Working at the pharmacy. So Griselda came in 2 p.m. I do hope the Vic is well and that his bronchitis isn't coming back. Then Alan Trelawney came in and we chatted briefly. That was about 3:45, I think. Okay. So there's a photo from 3:10. Okay. So 3:45 p.m. Alan Trelawney came in. So did Alan say that he was at the pharmacy? I don't know. I don't remember. Oh, yep. Then went to the pharmacy. Okay. Yep. Cool. So that's now confirmed. Right. And then we have... Right. The next part of his statement says then, oh yes, old Thomas from the manor for something for his piles. That took a while. So that must have been at about 4 p.m, I guess. So working at pharmacy. Oh, what just happened there? Ooh. Hello? What's with the... I don't know what's going on there. So Thomas Cowdew came in around 4 p.m. and took a while. Right, so Thomas said he... Yeah, he did say he went to the pharmacy. So pharmacy confirmed. Okay. Right, that took a while. No one else. I did talk to Nessa about the refuse collection from the shops here. We've been having trouble perhaps around 3 p.m. or shortly after. I closed at 5:30 p.m. as usual, finished my paperwork, tidied up and walked home. Alright. So he says no one else came in. So that's just probably an important thing to note. So if anyone says they went to the pharmacy... well, actually, someone else did say they went to the pharmacy. So Melon said she sent Tamara to the pharmacy. So that's not confirmed. That's okay, Joe, no worries. So I'm just filling in everything I can from Arthur Hammett's statement. So yeah, he said Thomas came in, no one else. So no, nothing too important, Joe, I don't think. But I was just pointing out that in one of the statements, Melon Morgan's statement, she said she sent Tamara to the pharmacy at 4:30. Did you say Nessa was talking to Arthur at 3:10 p.m? Yes. I mean, I don't think I wrote it in Nessa's box yet. But yeah, like this here is not confirmed. Oh, no worries, Jenna, that's fine. All good. So I could put in here... There you go. Okay. So, where's Arthur gone? When did Abby say that she dropped off? Oh yeah, okay, fair enough. Right, so then, working at pharmacy. And then he closed up at 5:30. Richard Carlyon. And then it says that he said the same thing, that they had a brief chat. Then went in and cooked dinner for Jowan and me. Jowan was upstairs. I'm afraid I had to nag him about doing his homework. He's so lax about getting on with it. Okay, there we go. Okay. Dinner with Jowan. Okay. Next, Jowan Hammett. Okay, so where is this picture? This is interesting. So this is at about 5 or 10 past 4 in the afternoon. So this looks like maybe just after Caro Penhaligon has come out of the doctor's surgery and is on his way home. And he's telling off Verity for associating with such a low life as Jowan Hammett. So that's interesting. So yeah, a bit past 4, Caro was out and yelling at Verity. So I was at school, all right. Then I don't know. I came home on the bus, played a game for a bit, thought I'd better get on with my homework because Dad is always on and on about it. Dad got back at his usual time and we had dinner, 5:30. That's when he comes home. I did do my homework. You can't say I didn't. I don't care what Dad said to you. How does he know whether I did it or not? He's never here anyway. No, I can't show you. It's gone. I don't know. I lost it. Right. Why are people always getting at me? That Mr. Penhaligon started yelling at me for no reason this afternoon. I was just talking to his sister Verity as she was going home and walking past our house. Anyone would think we weren't good enough for him and his sort. Bloody snob. Alright, so Jowan. He was at school. Came home on the bus. Okay. So I assume that Jowan Hammett goes to school in Cahalwyn along with the other kids, but I don't know that for sure. So 4:05 p.m. walking from school. Caro Penhaligon yelled at him and Verity outside his house. Nice. Okay. So then apparently he was at home doing homework, but lost it. At home, Dad came home 5:30, had dinner. Yeah, 35 minutes. That's right. All the secondary students go to school in Cahalwyn. Yeah, so it takes 35 minutes to get home. So he would have gotten home around 3:45. And then, yeah, probably was just hanging out with Verity and got in trouble for it. That's my guess. Okay. Right. So now we have Cordelia Kerno. Ooh, yes, I suppose you'll need to know where everyone was. Right. I don't know. I never really know anything like that, but I don't think I have an alibi, really. Oh, Gwen, don't look at me like that. I'll try my best then. Oh, she's funny. Alright, so I was working on a new pot upstairs for most of the afternoon. Hey, this is a clock. And this clock is for 4:30 and she's on the phone to Carenza. Right. So this is Cordelia. So she was at home working on a pot. We know she went to the Vickers to talk to Len at some point. 4:30, she was on the phone to Carenza Tremaine. Okay. Oh no, that's no good in it. Oh wait, I did go over and see the vicar. Must have been about 3 p.m. We had tea and chatted about the Christmas fair and my exhibition. He's so funny but nice, really nice. Well, then I came back over here and did some housework. Carenza Tremaine phoned at 5:30-ish. Wait, is this 5:30 or 4:30? That looks like 4:30 to me. Can you guys see that well enough to be able to tell me what time that is? It is meant to be 5:30? Oh, okay, my bad. Right. Came home and did housework. See it more clearly on the bigger picture. Right, I forgot I had those. Yeah, okay. I see it now. Thank you. Okay, so she was just sort of like hanging out at home most of the afternoon, I guess. On the phone to Carenza, and then I'm guessing... Initially, she said she wanted to check out about our dinner date, but I thought she wanted to say something else, really. Oh, sorry, that's not relevant, is it? Then Gwen got home just after we got ready to go out. Carenza arrived about 6:45, and our table was booked for 7 p.m, so we set off there, the restaurant, I mean. Rightio. So, on phone, Gwen came home. So 6:45 p.m, Carenza arrived, and they all... she probably was wanting to talk about the fact that she's pregnant with Blaze Penhaligon's baby. Shady. That would be my guess. Okay, so... if we take a look at Carenza... yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah. You get it now, you get it now. It all makes sense. Okay, then... oops, I'm trying to click on the wrong screen. Then we have Gwen Yago. Oh gosh, there's another clock in this picture, and it's even harder to see than the last one. Let's get a bigger version of this. 2:30. That's 2:30 for sure, right? Yes, that's 2:30. Okay. Rightio. So... I was at work. Actually, that's not entirely accurate. I was over at Lanscombe. Spent most of the afternoon there working on a breaking embezzlement story at a local charity that had its head office there. It's meant to help out poor families with their kids' schooling, but they haven't been handing out too much recently. Turns out that's because someone has been creaming money off the profits. Blaze was chairman, and our Eva Tremorthick is also a bigwig, actually, a director. She says she's appalled by the news. So no, I wasn't in the office until later on, about 4:30 p.m, but I was with my photographer all afternoon. Okay, so let's fill this in. Oh, I've lost, where were they? Here we go, Gwen. So she was working on charity embezzlement story. Working with photographer in photo. Okay. So she was working. Wasn't in the office till later on, about 4:30 p.m. Okay, so she works not in I don't think I've spelled that right. She doesn't work, in the actual town. She works out of town. So I'll just make a note here that she was working in Lanscombe. Back at office in Lanscombe. And then caught 5:05 p.m. bus home. And I think that's actually also verified by this statement here from Penny Morgan, because that is Gwen Jargo behind her getting off the bus at the same time. So they both caught like a 5 p.m. bus back and got back around 5:30. Right. Got here about 1:30. Cordelia and I were going out for dinner with our friend from university, Carenza. She arrived not long after 6:30. We went out to the restaurant together. Saw that maid from the manor with the local witch on the way. That's what they say she is, you know. These old superstitions persist in backwards places like this. So she's, again, she kind of strikes me as fairly innocent. Like, I'm not seeing much in her character that brings her under suspicion for me. And obviously she's been out and about, and I think she more so just color code the ones you've eliminated. That's a good idea. That is a good idea. But that's okay. Alright, okay, next. Right, so there's a lot going on in this picture as well. This is Marek Nichols, so I might bring up just a bigger version of this for you all to see. So there's a clock here, first of all, that looks like it's about 3:45 in the afternoon. Yep, clock 3:45, I would say that is. We have Marek talking to a townie by the looks. We have Alan Trelawney. And I don't know who that is. I can't tell from the back who that is in that picture there. Okay, I walked, blah, 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 blah. I was at my office all afternoon, of course. I saw Caddick Morgan at 2 p.m. and worked on an amendment to his lease on the pub. He went off just after 2:30. Okay, so let's bring up... Hey, thank you so much for the follow, Kim. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're enjoying the stream so far. We are trying to solve a murder. It's quite complicated. Is it Hedra? Yeah. So, okay, so it's Hedra. Thank you. Yeah. So that was when she was out trying to find her husband, her wayward husband, I guess. Yeah, we're trying to solve a murder, Kim. So this is our complicated spreadsheet here, where we are writing in everybody's movements and whereabouts. So he was working at office. So Caddick M was in till 2:30 p.m. Okay, so then he drafted it, handed it to my secretary to type. I sent her off to deliver it by hand. She lives in Lanscombe and we needed to get the new documents to the brewery solicitors that evening. That would have been around 3:35, just after school came out. I saw the children walking past. Okay. Yeah, okay, so it's Hedra. Right. So he was working on new lease. Working, sent off secretary to Lanscombe. 3:30. Yep. So I saw the children, blah, blah, blah. I shut up early for once and decided to go for a short walk. I was due home for tea with mother at 4, but I wanted to clear my head. So I guess, yeah, so this is 4:45. So this is him just out and about on the street, just going for a walk. Okay, so closed up early. So there's a photo on street. Oh, that's what you can see in the picture? Him sending off his secretary. Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. Yep. So he said it was 3:35 p.m., but really it was more like 3:45. Okay. I don't think that's a huge time gap there. It's like 10-minute different between what he thought it was and what it actually was. So I think that's fine. I walked a little further than I intended up the cliff path towards Haldoo. No, I didn't see anyone. I got back about 4:30 and joined my mother and Uncle Alan Trelawney. Uncle Alan left about 6:30 and I went with him for a short private talk and then rejoined Mother that evening. Yeah, I get you, Jenna. Okay, so, went for a walk. 4:30 at home for tea with Mother and Uncle Alan. I mean, I guess... Yeah, no, I don't think he really had time to go off and murder Blaze Penhaligon. I don't see that happening. Uncle Alan left about 6:30 and I went with him for a short private talk and then rejoined Mother for the evening. No, I won't tell you what it was about. It was nothing to do with this business of Blaze being murdered. Okay. So... Went... with no motive, yeah. Uncle Alan for a short private chat, then back home. Okay, cool. Sonara Nichols, hello lovely. Who is that in the background of your picture? Is that your maid, baby? Who is this person? Is this meant to be her maid? Oh, a clock. That's 2:30. Is this just a maid here? That's her maid? Okay, cool. Thank you. Right. I was gardening all afternoon. I'm always gardening in the afternoon, spring through to autumn. Right, if you don't keep on top of it, everything gets away from you and you end up with a mess. Blah-de-blah-de-blah. Okay, so let's get this open. Oh, whoops, I moved my screen. Sorry, everyone. That's better. Okay, so... Sonara. At home gardening. At home gardening. There's a photo. 2:30 p.m. With a maid in the background. There we go. Okay, I stopped just before 4 p.m. and went to get the tea ready. The maid had left the tea things out for me before she left. She finished at about 2 o'clock and called goodbye. Oh, wait a minute. Well, this is, say, showing 2:30 in this picture here. You guys can't really see it. Sorry, wait, let me try to... Can I zoom out, please? Can I zoom out, please, photo program? Nope, that was zooming in. Okay, I can't zoom out far enough. Yeah, I know you can't. Sorry, hold on. Here's the clock. So this clock is showing 2:30, in my opinion. But in this picture, it actually looks more like 2 p.m. And I know you guys can't see that very well either. Let me try to make that even bigger for you. That's just a mistake? Okay. Yeah, because this is definitely... That's definitely like 2 p.m. there. In that photo. But that's cool. That doesn't matter. No big deal. Changed it to 2 p.m. because of the statement. Yep, no worries. All good. All good. All good. Okay, so, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, no, that's okay. No worries at all. So she was gardening away, just in her zone. Stopped gardening to get the tea ready. Alan arrived 4 p.m. Always punctual. And then Marek arrived home, she says, at 4:30. Really, one couldn't ask for a better son than my dear Marek, so like his father. And then, let's put that in the right spot. Alan went off at 6:30 and Marek went with him for a while. He returned and we settled down to our evening. We played cards and listened to the radio. Wow, what an exciting night. Okay, so having tea. Having tea. Alan left 6:30. And then came. Sorry, I realized you guys can't see that square because I'm in the way. I'm just writing that in. So I don't think Marek and Sonara Nichols have any motive to murder the guy either. I might be a little naive there, but I think they're fine. So could I... table properties? How do I like... I don't know. I'll just highlight them in green. I'll just highlight them in green. I don't think they're very suspicious. I also don't think that Alan Trelawney's very suspicious either. There we go. Okay, so Nessa won. All right. Oh, there's a clock in this picture, everybody. Another clock. Fantastic. Wait, let me get up a bigger version. Clock! Do you like how we're all just like, a clock? This clock is showing 4:30 or 5:30. What do we think? 4:30 or 5:30, everybody? Yeah, you said it before me, you did. I can't tell. Trying to see who sees it first. Joe's like, it's a contest. Good job, Joe. You're on the ball. Okay, so Nessa. Let's go ahead and get her statement up here. Here we go. Okay. I'm not sure what I can recall exactly, but I'll try. I dropped Kellen at the manor just before 2 p.m., then came to the shop. Dropped Kellen at manor, 2 p.m. 4:30 p.m. says Jenna. I would say 4:30. Shop. Okay, I was making up bouquets for a wedding over at Kahal when Melon came in not long after I opened for a bit of a gossip. She's a good friend to me and we had a bit to say. Okay, so that's, yeah, that's in here. So Melon came in to chat. Yep. Okay. Then I spoke to Arthur from the pharmacy next door. We've been having trouble with the council rubbish collection and wanted to compare. After that, Hedra came in just before I closed at 4 to collect the flowers for the manor. Okay. 5:30 she was on the phone. Righto. Then Hedra came in to pick up flowers. Closed shop. 4 p.m. Okay, so Hedra, I'm pretty sure Hedra did say that she went to the... Oh, okay, so she says... We'll have to double check that. So she said she was at the pub looking for Thomas at 4:15 and then went to the florist. But the florist says she came in just before I closed at 4. Oh, Karenza was on the phone. Yeah. Sorry, yeah. I follow. So is that something I should note? that there's a bit of a discrepancy there in some timings? I don't know. I'll have to double check Hedra's statement. Wait, we have to go back and double check Hedra's statement. Bear with me, everybody. Hedra. We stayed till 3:30 and then walked as far as the school. Melon went on her way home along Church Lane and I went to Nessa's shop to collect the flowers. Okay, yeah, no, so that's fine. Hi, Red Arena. How are you? How's your day been? Another fabulous South Australian in chat. Another Aussie has entered the chat. How's your day been? How are you? Hello, Wireless. How are you going? Hope you're having a good day, everybody. Good to see you guys here. Who are the main suspects? Cedric Chesney and Eva Tremothick and Thomas Cardew at this point. But we're still working on it. There we go. Okay, so I just wrote that down wrong, so that's fine. Okay, so we're doing Nessa. Here we go. It's close shop at 4 p.m. Right. Blah, 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 blah. I went over to the Green to meet Abby and pick up Kellen and Tegan. I don't know what I'd do without her help. Okay. You're bleh, but trying to stay positive. Oh, T-Love's in the chat for Red Arena. I'm sorry that you're bleh. Has that just been a bleh kind of day? Wait, what time is this? Oh. Hey, Captain Davers, listening while you work today. Hope everyone is doing well. Yeah, I'm good. I hope that you're doing well as well. So I'm going to put that in there. Closed shop, 4 p.m. There we go. And went to the Green to pick up the kids from Abby. Oh, no worries. I hope that, yeah, I hope that everybody's weeks improve. Okay, so, Then I came home and started on the evening meal. I spoke to Karenza, the school teacher lady who lives next door. Yeah, so this is 4:30. Tegan's doing very well in school, and Miss Tremaine likes Miss Tremaine very much. Okay. So she got home 4:30 p.m. So, why was I'm not sure. Oh, just a crappy week and month. When it hasn't been your day, your week, your month. Would you like a song to cheer you up? I can sing you the theme song of Friends. Would that help? Because that's what you just reminded me of. But yeah, why was I'm not sure if you've been following along at all with the story of Polgannon. But right now, the murdered guy was like a super rich landlord, right? So the main suspects right now are his butler, a lady who manages a charity and was stealing money, and a local, like, parish minister guy who didn't like him very much. Sing mode. Just set. So, hang on. How does that song start? So no one told you life was gonna be this way. Everybody. Your job's a joke, you broke, your love's life, stay away. It's like you're always stuck in second gear. When it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. But I'll be there for you. When the rain starts to pour, I'll be there for you. Like I've been there before, I'll be there for you. 'Cause you're there for me too. There you go. How do I remember all the words? I have a thing for song lyrics, Joe. I know the second verse as well. Did you know there's a second verse to that song? And like a bridge and like more choruses. I actually... Thanks, guys. I hope that cheered you up, Rat Arena. Thank you. Yeah. The second verse is really funny. It's like, You're still in bed at 10 and work began at 8. You burnt your breakfast. So far, things are going great. Your mother warned you there'd be days like these, but she didn't tell you when the world has brought you down on your knees. That, I'll be there for you. And goes on and on and on. It's a really good song. Like, you guys should check out the whole song. Thank you, everybody, for the claps. Oh, bless. I'm sorry you're having such a rough day, but I do hope that cheered you up a bit. Okay. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, it is a... Oh, that's a bitch with a happy crying face. That's okay. I get you. I get you. Yeah, no, it was like an actual single before it became the theme song of Friends. So it was like, it's got like this bridge and yeah, it's a really good song. Okay, so the next thing is I remember Abby and Rosen hammering at the door, calling for Brayok to come and see about Mr. Penhaligon. Brayok must have come in before that then. Okay. You had no idea? Yeah. TV shows do that. They take a song and then they make it into a theme song. It's like sometimes I hear the theme song of Chuck on the radio, which is a TV show that I like very much. Yeah, and I hear that on the radio and I'm like, oh, it's the theme song of Chuck, but it's also actually just a song. Okay, we're almost done with these statements. Having taken statements for all concerned, I said to Constable Warren, we better have your observations on the day. He is to provide a written report shortly. All right. You love Chuck. You've seen Chuck. Yes. Ratarina, you're my hero. No one has seen Chuck ever. And it's such a good TV show. I'm so pleased you've seen it. That's just made me so happy on the inside. Chuck is so good, right? Zachary Levi, eat your heart out. Such a good TV show. Alright, we're going to jump back into Constable Warren's house now. Because he's got more statements, basically. That's what I'm thinking. Is that the song, Joe, that you've just found there? Yeah, no, so many people haven't seen it. Because it's never really properly been aired on Australian TV. Your boyfriend loves Chuck? Captain Dammers? Yes! Yeah. Chuck was it's like a nerdy TV show. It's got stars Zachary Levi, who was a Broadway star, who was also the prince in Tangled, and he starred in Shazam, the movie Shazam, as like a teenage superhero. Zachary Levi is like awesome. I love him. And also Yvonne Strahovski, who was an Russian-born but Australian actress. 5 seasons of pure awesome. If you need something to watch Chuck. All right. Okay, so I loved that show so much I bought the box set. Like, that's how you know I love a TV show, is if I go... She was in Mass Effect, she was. Yeah, if I go out and I, like, buy myself the box set, you know, like, I loved that TV show. So I own the box set of Chuck, of The Nanny, and of Friends. And of Daria, actually. I have Daria, too. My brother bought me that one, though. All right. So, Brayok should have some more information for us here as well. So, let's take a look at what he has got. Brayok's report. Okay. Daria was the best. How good was Daria, right? You'll have to look for it. Is it on a streaming service? Do you know? I don't know. It was on Amazon Prime, I want to say. Last time I looked. So I'm pretty sure Amazon Prime has it, but you might be able to find it. Yeah, have a look on Just Watch. Exactly. Yeah, you might be able to find it online. It's sort of like at one stage it was on Netflix, and then they sort of took it off Netflix, and so yeah, it is hard to find, unfortunately. Okay, so Brayok's report. Inspector Ross Carrick has asked me to write down what I observed on the afternoon Mr. Blaze Penhaligon was murdered. I was doing my rounds and walked over most of the village that day. I set off from home that afternoon, not long after lunch. I couldn't see my neighbour Rosa Nancarrow, but you could tell she was in from the smell and the smoke coming out of her chimney. She brews up some disgusting things over that fire of hers, and it comes right through into our house. She says it's to help people. Make 'em sick, more like. So he doesn't like Rosa Nancarrow either. I did observe Jory Bascowan's boat out on the bay too. I have to keep an eye on that one, so I tend to notice where he is. Like blah, 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 blah. I watched him for a while to see what he was up to. Okay, so this will be interesting to see if he's got like a time for when he saw. No. Then I observed Rosen coming out of her house with her basket over her arm at about 2:30. Oh, there you go. Oh, Red Arena, that's awesome. It's on 7+. Okay, their streaming service. There you go. That's not too bad. Okay, guys, so this is interesting. Do you remember how we were trying to work out... Yeah, that has pushed the boat test even earlier. Exactly. So he observed Jory's boat out on the bay, and then it says, and then he observed Rosen coming out of her house with her basket over her arm at 2:30. So that means technically she was like at home here by Brayok's statement, and then 2:30 was when she left home with basket. Brayok, or I should say report, shouldn't I? Yeah, he saw the boat about 2:15 or so, exactly. So observed Jory B's boat out on the bay sometime between 2 and 2:30. Okay, so back up to Jory Bascowan. Boat was seen by Brayok out on the bay 2 p.m.-ish. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Okay. Right, then I observed Robin coming out of her house with a basket over her arm about 2:30. She goes collecting most days. I followed her a bit up the Haven Road, then proceeded along Church Lane and onto the Green, where I spoke with the new Lady Polgarth and the vicar's wife. Okay, so back to Brayok. Observed Rosen in house 2:30 p.m. and followed her up the road. Okay, so went to the Green, chatted with Caroline Penhaligon. That's right, isn't it? Yeah, Jory could be lying just because he's smuggling. I know, Joe. Exactly. Yeah. It's not necessarily that he's lying about, yeah, his whereabouts because he was involved in the murder. Yeah. Definitely. Okay, there's quite a bit in this picture as well. Like, what is going on in this picture? Let's get a bigger version of that. Hang on a second. So, Brayok. This one, going up Church Lane. So this is Sonara Nichols in her front yard. That's Arthur Hammett. And that is Caddock Morgan. Okay, so a couple of people out and about. If you guys can make out those characters. Are you proud of me, by the way, Jenna? Look at me recognizing most of the characters in the photos now. Woohoo! I'm on it. Okay, so the new Lady Polgarth would be Caroline Penhaligon, right? Not Adele. And the vicar's wife. So that's Griselda. Yeah. Not the Dowager. Yeah. There's a lot of characters. Yeah. Well, I was very overwhelmed at first, that's for sure. So let's take a look. So... yeah, she says she was at the Green at 3, so that's fine. And Griselda said she was at the Green, which is fine. Yeah, okay. Then I turned back and proceeded along the high street round as far as the solicitors. I spoke to the shopkeepers, made sure all was well. That was at approximately 3:15 as the kids were coming out of school. I met Abby going to the Green with Tegan and Kellen, and I walked back that way with them. Once there, I noticed Rosen again, coming over from round the back of the shops, and she stopped and talked to that wastrel son of hers for a bit. Right. Gosh, he certainly gets around, this guy, doesn't he? So... he was, like, doing rounds, I should really say. Yeah. So... she crossed over to the churchyard. I approached the church then to make sure she wasn't doing any damage. After that, I proceeded in the direction of Backlane Cottages, but there was no one about, so I crossed onto Carharwan Road and was passed by Lady Polgarth, that is the Dowager Lady Polgarth now, sir, driving at speed in her car, going home, I should say. That would be coming up to 4 p.m. Yeah, of course, Jenna, of course. I like it. Okay, so... blah, blah, blah. So, 4 p.m... he was on Carharwan Road? Yeah. Was passed by Adele P, driving fast, going home just before 4 p.m. And we know where she was. We know that she was at the golf club with Richard Carlyon, having some cheeky woohoos. So that was her, because then Richard started playing golf at 4 p.m, so she would have had to get her butt back home. Okay, so we know where she was. At approximately 4:15, I proceeded slowly up Lanscombe Road, past the vicarage and the houses there, keeping my eye on Rosen as I went. I said good afternoon to the vicar, who was in his garden just then. Then I went on and caught up with Rosen at about 5:15 at the top of the hill. She was seen to enter the woods. There's not much harm she can do there, so I came away again. Blah, 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 blah. All right, my gosh. Okay, so 4:15 saw Leonard at the church, or at the vicarage rather. I don't know how you spell that word. Following Rosen, I guess. Okay, so then 5:15 p.m. he caught up with Rosen at the top of the hill. So I got, you can't really see that. This is the map of Polgannon that's on the website as well. So he's currently on Lanscombe Road, and then the woods are down this way. Yeah, so At 5:15, he saw Rosen head down this way, basically. But he was kind of following Rosen all around town for most of the afternoon, which, I mean, I already think that Rosen's fairly innocent, but I think this kind of confirms Rosen's innocence because the police officer was literally kind of keeping tails and tabs on her for the whole afternoon. And then at 5:15, when she disappears into the woods, she goes off this way. And the pole stones are this way. And this is where the murder was. So, I don't know. In my opinion, everyone needs to get off Rosen's butt, you know? 5:15 went into the woods. Okay. There's not much harm she could do there, so I came that way again and proceeded up Manor Road for a short way. I observed Abby Cardew coming down the road. Yeah, exactly. So he went up Manor Road a little ways and saw Abby coming down this way. Aha, there's a map and everything. So if Abby was coming like down Manor Road, I realized just now that you guys can't actually see my cursor, which probably doesn't help. She was probably going off to meet Rosen in the woods down this way, down south of where the pole stones are. Okay. So, went up Manor Road, saw Abby coming down. Oops, there we go. There we go. Okay. Rosen came out of the woods to meet Abby then. It was then I observed them as they started up the hill towards the stones. It'd be approximately 5:30 p.m. by then. Seems they had a lot to say to each other. They was chattering away like a pair of magpies and walking slow. If I'd have known what they were going to find there, I would have gone with them. But there it is, I didn't, so I came home then, you know the rest. So yeah, they would have gone up towards the pole stones. So, okay. That's interesting. So, 5:30 p.m. Observed Rosen and Abby meet and start chatting and heading up towards the pole stones. Okay. And then, yeah, Rosen said she met with Abby around 5:30, talked a bit about Abby's sad life. And then Abby herself said she went out for a walk and met with Rosen. Yeah. So that's all. All of their stories are kind of verifying each other at the moment. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's everything we can gather from him. So came home. Came home around 6 p.m. Okay, so is that all of the like statements that I can really look through right now? Oh gosh. Let's have a look through some more photos. So this is an argument in the church between Leonard and Blaze with Cedric overhearing. I did do Margaret's letters. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no, I've put in Margaret's letters. Some evidence in the gossips, yeah, so these are the gossip pictures. So, I mean, this first picture, I think, mostly just provides, the motive for Cedric to be involved in the demise of Blaze Penhaligon, because he overheard this argument about him and everything. So we know that he didn't like Blaze Penhaligon. This photo is taking place in the manor between Caro, Blaze, Caroline's overhearing, and Adele is looking very happy that they're falling out. This is Nessa overhearing Blaze yelling at Brayok. Caro and Verity arguing. Griselda and Cedric talking. Eva's fashion habit. So this is where Eva spends all of the charity money, is on fashion habits, I guess. This is someone catching on to Davith and Caro, and then over this side we have Leonard and Cedric talking. This maybe looks like Hedra? Yeah, Cedric is over here talking to... Actually... I think Cedric's talking to Thomas in this picture. So when was this? To whom? Yeah. Good question. Hedra to Melon. So yeah, this is Hedra Cardu. Thomas and Cedric are definitely over here having a bit of a goss. And Davith and Caro. Yeah, so we should take a look at what was said in this gossip, do you think? So this is Hedra gossiping to Melon, I think. Is what that is. So we'll take a look at that in a minute. It'll be in Melon's family story, yeah. Here we have Jory and Verity being cute. We have Nessa, Tegan, and her kid. Who the heck is that? Marek. I think that's Marek Nichols going for a walk. That's my guess. That's Marek Nichols going for a walk the afternoon of the demise. This looks interesting. Yeah, so that picture is another one with Hedra to Melon. Okay. So we definitely need to go back into Melon's family story and check out what's going on there. That's Verity spying on Abby crying in the garden. This one we've already looked at today, so this is, yeah. This is the one that made us suspect that Blaze Penhaligon killed, what's her name? The Hammett woman. Arthur Hammett's wife. Rowena Hammett, thank you, yeah. And in this one we have Eva, Nessa, and someone. Eva to Hedra. Okay. So that might be Hedra there as well. Then we have Blaze, Thomas, and Hedra. And that's Caddock to Arthur. Okay. And there's Abby crying. There's a lot of pictures of poor Abby having a cry, aren't there? Okay, so let's just really quickly head back into, not you, Melon Morgan. So Jenna, on a scale of 1 to 10, how close are we? With 10 being like, you're there, you've got it, and 1 being, you guys got no idea. That's what I want to know. Okay. Hey, that's Rowena Hammett there. The poor, look for a gap. Pretty good, actually. Think about timings, look for a gap. Okay. Okay. We're almost there, everybody. We're gonna crack this case. So, Melon also works at the pub alongside Caddock, but her interests are more domestic. Yep. They took in Tamara. So I guess the Morgans do then, because I was saying before that for me the Morgans are pretty much like above suspicion. But I guess they do have a little bit of reason to really hate Blaze, because they took in Abby's illegitimate daughter, and Blaze kind of put the moves on their daughter, Penny. And they weren't fooled or pleased by it. So I guess they did have a little bit of a reason to like really dislike him quite a lot. But that doesn't, I mean, everyone has reason to dislike him. That doesn't mean they were involved with the murder. But yeah, just a note. Okay. So this piece of gossip here. So I'm worried about Caro, Melon. I saw him going to the doctor's when I was walking down to meet you on Tuesday. I think he was trying to avoid being seen. Do you think there's something wrong with him, his father dying, and now this? Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so what time? So Hedra. Oh, okay. So Hedra met with Melon for coffee at the Boathouse Cafe at 3 p.m. Right? Okay, follow me here, guys. So she would have had quite a walk because she's up here at the manor, and she was going off to meet for coffee right down here at the Boathouse Cafe. So she would have had to leave at like, I don't know, what would you guys say, like 2:30ish to be able to get to the Boathouse Cafe by 3 o'clock for the coffee. And they met at the cafe. They didn't meet at the vicarage. So she would have been coming down sort of through this way. And so right now she's here. She's here on land. Oh, I just realized again, you guys can't see my cursor. That's her statement picture. No, this is her gossip picture. What do you mean is... This is a gossip picture. Oh, for the time she left the manor? Oh, okay. Sorry. Yep. I'm following. Ooh. Hey, look, Eva Tremothick was at the Ginger Cat Cafe a bit past 3. Rose and Nan Caro saw her. Haha! Alright, so we've confirmed that then. Yeah. So I didn't pick that up last time I was looking at it. But there is a clock. Oh my gosh, I've got too many things open. Sorry. Yeah, there is a clock here, and this is I know this is the wrong Rosen picture. But I'm just saying she saw Eva Tremothick at the Ginger Cat Cafe. Right? I don't know. Okay, so oh, right. Yeah. I get you. Okay, so Hedra going out. Aha, so Hedra left at about 2:25. Okay, Hedra left about 2:25. So we can assume then that she would have been walking past... Let me actually just save this image. Wait up. Sims 2 tools. Polgannon. I'm hoping if I open it here... Can you guys see my cursor on that now? Can you guys see my arrow on that? So she left here at 2:25. Don't any of these villages have bicycles? No, I guess not. Oh dear. Yes, you can? Okay, excellent. Yeah, so, right. Okay, so she's left the manor at 2:25. She's come down Manor Road. She's come down Lanscombe Road. And then it's at this point here. So she's on her way to the Boathouse Cafe. So this would have been maybe around like 2:40 p.m. ish. maybe 2:45 that she was walking past here. Okay. And she has seen... I closed the picture. Wait up. She's seen Cedric and Thomas having a chat. And a bit of a gossip. She's also seen Caro heading into the doctor's. Okay? So, if we take a look at everybody's statements, he said he was home. Caro said he was at home writing a speech, and he was home all afternoon till he went to the green. So he actually left to go to Davith, was seen around 2:40 p.m. Okay, so he was actually at Davith Tremethix from here on. Until 4 when Davith had to open up his surgery and he would have had to leave. Had to leave just before 4 p.m. when surgery opened. Okay? So that's a little bit of a hole in his story. But in terms of Cedric and Thomas, he said he left the pub at about 2:30 and came back later. And then we weren't sure what he was doing here between 3 and 3:30. But now we know, seen in photo, maybe 2:40 p.m. at church with Cedric having a gossip. So this is still kind of unconfirmed as to where Thomas was between 3 and 3:30 p.m. We only know that he was at the pharmacy from 4 till 4:30. Ish. Okay? So there's a little bit of a gap there, potentially, for Thomas. Then Cedric, where's he? At home in prayer and contemplation. Not so. Again, roughly 2:40 p.m. Seen in photo on church grounds with Thomas Cardew. And the other thing that's interesting about this is that... Oh, did I accidentally close that photo? I might have. Whoopsie. This, where they were seen, is not very far from Polstones. And we also know, I'm pretty sure, yeah, Cedric and Thomas are very sus. So I'm pretty sure we know as well that Blaze left the manor at about 2:30. So they were at the church around 2:30. Blaze left the manor around 2:30. And then we only really know where they were after that from about 4 o'clock. Yeah, they're at the church. That's right. I think. Yeah, this is the church. Isn't it? Wait, is this not the church? Hold on. Is this not the church? Because I can see gravestones. That's why I was saying it was the church. Is that right? Yeah, and the other side of the road is the surgery. Yeah. Where is the surgery, actually? And then there's Verity. Nessa saw her with young Jowen again as she was walking home on the night Blaze was killed. Yeah. So Davith, yeah, so Davith is actually here. So it's actually, sorry, it's actually this road. So this road right here is where that picture's taken. Just in between here and here. But my point that I was trying to make is that if they did duck up to the pole stones to get up to no good, they potentially would have had time. Potentially, but I don't know. Okay, so let's now, I think, go back to the statements, I guess. What am I missing? You're missing quite a bit, but I think you have most of the essential stuff. Dang it. Which families did Blaze hit on the girls? Every single one. Every single one. Was seen... Wait a minute. So she... Oh yeah, she was seen by Nessa. So where exactly did Nessa see... Oh yeah, went to pick up the kids from Abby at the green. So the what I'm trying to... Blaze was lovely. Yeah, totally lovely. Totally lovely. I was just trying to figure out the timing of this other piece of gossip that Hedra has for Melon. So I'm just going to load this family back up real quick and show you guys what I mean. So this second gossip picture, so this looks like the road up to the manor, maybe? I don't know what road that is exactly. Nessa saw her with young Jowen again as she was walking home on the night Blaze was killed. So, unless this is just outside the green. Who's worse, Blaze or his killer? Haldu, Nessa's walking home. Oh, okay. Oh, it's this road. Oh, okay. I'm with you. Oh, yeah, and that road there goes down to the docks. Okay. Right. Okay. I'm a bit stumped as to where we look for more evidence at this point. Do we keep looking through gossips? What do you guys think? Or should we take a break and all think on it and then try to work it out and reconvene? I don't know. I think... Sim thoughts. Some physical evidence. We haven't found a lot of, think about timings. We haven't found a lot of physical evidence so far. Okay, so people I don't think did anything. I would say Verity had nothing to do with anything. Not sure about Adele. Yeah, utterly clueless. People who are successful generally narrow down their list of suspects. Okay. I don't think Hedra had anything to do with it. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I think Thomas is very suspicious, particularly here. I don't think... What do you mean by that, Jenna? I have confirmed evidence of her innocence or of her guilt. Like, I can confirm where she was for most of the afternoon. Yeah. I have the statements from others. Yeah, confirming where she was. Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to make sure we were on the same page. All right. Caro Penhaligon. I don't think he committed the murder. Yeah, or pictures. Yep. I know, like, he obviously lied about some stuff, but I think that was because he is covering his relationship with Davith. I don't think he had anything to do with it unless... I guess we should verify that he was in fact on the green, or at the green, at these hours. Just adding there here that he was yelling at his sister. Yeah, he was talking to people on the green, he said. So, let's just see if Griselda Pascoe said anything about seeing Caro Penhaligon on the green. Because she was at the green for most of the afternoon. Although she came home kind of when he said he was there. I wonder what Sonara was trying to say to me the other day. I was too busy telling that joke to Caro to listen. You're meant to be going to sleep, but I'm not going to be able to until we crack the case. Sorry. Keeping you up. What time do you have to work tomorrow? All right, it is 9:30. I was like, why are you trying to go to sleep already? It's 9:30. That's a perfectly respectable time to be trying to go to sleep. I'm just too invested in trying to solve this case to be sleepy. Okay, so I just want to see...
4 p.m. I went for a stroll over to the green and a bit of air. I passed Griselda Pascoe, the vicar's wife. She was going home. I sat and played chess for a while with Derwa Piran. Left about an hour later and came home. James returned from the vicarage a little after Caroline was already home. Okay. So can anyone... You started 7 a.m.? Ouch. Can anyone else confirm that they saw said thingo there? I mean, we've got Seth here. We've got Abby. We've got Nessa. We got the kids. Tegan. And we've got Melon. So Griselda went along to the green and played chess with Caroline. Alan stopped to talk briefly, coming home with Nettie. She didn't really say anything about seeing him there. She did see Cedric. This is Cedric in Griselda's statement picture here. And this is Seth hitting on Caroline. So Cedric was at the green? When did... Yeah, it is Cedric, yeah. So Cedric was on the green around sometime between 3 and 4? So between 3 and 4, he said he was at home in prayer and contemplation. Oh, this is Griselda arriving at the green after going shopping. So she probably arrived there around 3. I think. Where is Griselda? Oh my god, I can't find her. Here she is. Yeah. We have her arriving at the green at about 3. And there's Cedric crossing the green, I guess, around 3. So if he was here, if he was at the church at about 2:40, and then he's seen on the green at around 3-ish, he was going this way. Where is he going? Did she said 4:45? No, that's for when she got home, I think, or something like that. At 4:45, Cedric joined us at home. Is that what you're thinking of, Joe? So, let's see. Came home to get tea ready for the boys. I managed to get some nice cakes from the bakers. I called them in about 4:45 and Cedric joined us. Yeah. But yeah, he was coming from here and going this way. Griselda went shopping at 2 p.m.-ish. What time would she arrive at the green? I don't know. We had it in there at 3. That's why I'm assuming it was around 3. Went to the pharmacy to buy some cough medicine for Arthur. So we know that was at about 2. So it might have even been 2:30 he was at the green. Yeah, I don't know. How am I supposed to know that, Jenna? How do I know how long she spent shopping? So I know she was at the pharmacy at 2 and then she said she went to the bakery. So I would say 2:45, 3 p.m. Arthur said just after 2 p.m. when Griselda came in. Yeah, it depends what she was shopping for. What did she buy? She bought cough medicine from Arthur and then stopped at the baker's. And then Arthur... Where's Arthur? Yeah, cough medicine. 2 things takes an hour. Well, maybe. I mean, she's a chatty lady. She likes to have a chat with everybody. And then she went to the baker's. I'm not saying it took her an hour. I'm saying it took her maybe half an hour. Half an hour, 45 minutes. But I don't know. I don't know. And then, so can Caroline confirm what time they got to the green? Pharmacy and hairdressers to check my appointment. Had a coffee at the Ginger Cat. Then spent some time chatting on the green. Just on 4 p.m. thought, gosh, must get home. Okay, so who else was at the green then? So we've got Caroline and... Caroline was seen having coffee at the green at 2:30. I mean, sorry, at the Ginger Cat at 2:30. Then hit the green. Who else have we got? Not seen said she was there. Alan said he was chatting at the green with Griselda. Alright, wait, where's Alan? Alan Trelawney. Okay. I met the girl from the Manor Abbey and walked with her to the green. We must have arrived about 3 p.m. I stopped and talked with Griselda Pascoe. Lovely woman. Gabby! Hello, lovely. Welcome, welcome. I'm sorry that you're working. Yeah, help me figure this out. I'm just baffled. Hi, how are you? I'm sorry that you're working too. Yeah, look, so they got to the green at 3 o'clock and he talked with Griselda Pascoe. So she was definitely at the green by 3, alright? Daylight savings has made us feel worlds apart now. I agree. Stupid daylight savings. We are literally just on completely opposite time zones. I think she was seen in one of the gossip pics. Let's have another look-see. None of those. None of those. These are the pictures from Margaret. Oh my gosh, Gabby, thank you so much for that subscription with Prime on a 5-month streak. I really appreciate you. Thank you. That's so kind of you. Thank you so much. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. Just clicking through all of these pictures, seeing if I can find Thingamadoodad on the green. You know what I mean? Who we got in this picture? Eva shopping, classic. Thomas. So this is around 4. in the afternoon, I think. Oh no, maybe like more like 3:15. Yeah, so Eva's been out shopping, Caddick's going into the bar, Brayok's making his rounds, Thomas is lurking, and Abby's here with the kids. That's Abby at the toy shop. Yeah. The butler is there, I know. I'm looking for Griselda, because now you've made me suspicious of Griselda. I'm just looking for, I don't know, I'm just looking for anything at this point, to be honest. I'm suspicious of the butler, yeah, I know. Oh dear. What do we have on him? Just a potential gap for murder. We know he left the pub at 2:30 and he was seen in that gossip picture about 2:40 at the church with Cedric. So then the toy store. Let's have a look through. Let's have a look at what Abby said. Okay, so Abby, hello. Nessa came just before 2 and dropped Kellen off. I took her to look after her in the afternoons to help. Kellen's a nice little girl, not spoiled like Oliver. I took the kids out for a walk about 2:30. We went along the lane for a while, then down to the village. I met that funny old Mr. Trelawney on Lanscombe Road. We walked to the green together. Then I went on to the school and met Tamara and Tegan. That would be about 3:15. They wanted to go and look in the toy shop. Then we went back to the green. I watched them play and talked to the vicar's wife. She's nice to your face, but all the rest looked down on me. Eliminate the obvious ones. So, are you telling me... Oh, adverts? Okay. Seth. Hello. Okay, so Seth... Seth was up on the village green as well, chatting with folks most of the afternoon. You can ask the vicar's wife. She was there a good while. Then I was off to Mother's place around 4 p.m. Saw Jory on the jetty seeing to his boat. Okay. Alright, so who else is obviously not guilty? Okay, Gwen Jargo. I don't think she had anything to do with it. I'm gonna eliminate Gwen Jargo. Finally back. Welcome back! Cordelia Kerno. I don't think I can necessarily eliminate her. Based on what we know. Hi, Lupo. You're just watching the Easter Bond. Well, welcome. We're trying to crack a murder case and we're very confused. Well, not, I say we, I really mean me. Who has the most motive? Everybody, Joe. Everybody. Okay, Arthur Hammett. I don't think he had anything to do with it. Jowan Hammett, I don't think he had anything to do with it. Motives for everyone. Unless he did something dodgy like here, but I don't think so. Okay, Richard Carlyon is definitely not above suspicion because he's got some gaps. So we still don't really know what he and Adele were doing. We can assume what they were doing, but we don't know what they were doing. Okay, Caddick Morgan went to see Marek at the lawyer till 2:45 at the pub. No, that's okay, Lupo, you're fine. Melon Morgan. Oh, okay, Penelope Morgan, I don't think she had anything to do with anything. I'm going to eliminate her. Tamara, I'm going to eliminate. I'm probably going to eliminate, like, the murderer. And Jenna's just going to be like... Okay, Cedric Chesney. Definitely not eliminating him. He's dodgy. Jory Bascowan. Now, he's an interesting one. Yeah, don't think the kids did it. Yeah. Jory Bascowan definitely was lying a fair bit, but are we going to say he was probably just out smuggling and that's why he lied? Dodgy, but I don't think he did it. Yeah. He did have a lot of motive, talking about motive, because he really hated Blaze, was in love with Rosen and everything. But I mean, he was out on the boat from till like about 3:30, and then Seth met him at 4, and then they went to the pub. Like, I don't think he would have had time to get up to the pole stones and do anything dodge. The murder was sometime in between Jory is a professional liar. The murder was we've got that written down somewhere. The coroner said probably earlier in the afternoon, but sometime between like 2 and 6. I believe that's what it was. So actual murder weapon was not found. Can you narrow it down further? Don't think so. Okay. Mr. Penhaligon left Pole Manor just after 2 p.m. telling Hedricadu housekeeper that he had a meeting. Oh, well, that's interesting. Clock. Joe, this is at the coroner's. I was just going to point out, so he left Pole Manor at 2 o'clock telling Hedra that he had a meeting. So that would be the charity meeting that Eva said was cancelled. She was surprised he went on foot, inferring he was meeting someone locally than at his workplace. Alan Trelawney, walking his dog, saw Mr. Penhaligon climbing the path leading to the pole stones around 2:15 from Manor Road. No one saw him in Polgannon that afternoon. And it seems reasonable to assume he went straight to the circle. It takes about 15 minutes to reach the stones from the manor on foot, so he would have reached the stones around 2:30 p.m. The medical examiner showed the victim died of a stab wound to the heart and estimates the time of death was sometime between 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. that afternoon. Last seen at 2:15, Mr. Penhaligon must have been killed between then and in the evening, probably earlier rather than later, but the examiner cannot be absolutely certain. All witnesses were asked to state what they were doing between those times. "2:30 p.m. is terminus antequem." Possibly shady. There might be some more physical evidence. That's what I was kind of saying before, is that I could probably do with having another look through people's houses and inventories and stuff. He was having a face-to-face as he was stabbed in the front, yeah. Not in the back, yeah. So, I mean, if it was like... Oh, earliest date the event may have happened. Oh, you don't think it's a woman because he would have been stronger than her and able to, like, fend off the attack? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. No, I get you, Jenna. I get you. So the earliest it could have possibly happened was 2:30 p.m. Jory was out on the bay. Then he was working on his boat. Met Seth at 4 at the docks. Yeah. Don't think he had anything to do with it. Okay. Eva. The guy is pretty spry if he walked up there and is still hitting on girls. Fair enough, yeah. Okay. Eva I don't know about. She could have potentially been up there around 2:30. I don't know about Eva. Davith, I don't think he had anything to do with it. So, Caro P arrived around 2:40 p.m. And he was home. Okay. Alan Trelawney. I don't think he had anything to do with it. I don't think Marek or Sonara had anything to do with it. I don't think Rose and Nancaro had anything to do with it at all. I think she's just being framed for it. Seth. Seth could have had something to do with it. We don't have a lot of information on Seth, where he was, what he was doing. He just sort of said he was around. So if we take another look at Seth. I see a clock. 3 p.m. What was his motive? Nothing. Hey, Sandy. Good to see you. Good morning. How you going? Seth didn't really have a motive. Still here. Yes, I am. He just said he had nothing to do with it. I was up on the green chatting with folks most of the afternoon. You can ask the vicar's wife. She were there a good while. But we've kind of established we don't really know when she arrived at the green. But she was there by 3. I say rule him out. Then I was off to Mother's place around 4. What do you mean, did anyone see me? I told you I had naught to do with it. Huh. I passed the cook from the manor and your precious policeman wife on the high street going down. Ask him. And then me and Jory met up with Thomas Cardo in the pub. Nah, I'm not going to rule him out just yet. Okay. Brayok. Well, I don't think Brayok murdered anybody. I don't think. So he's another one who said he saw Caroline Penhaligon and Griselda Pascoe at the Green around 3. Ruby, what's the matter? You need to go out? Hold on, guys. Doggy wants to go out. You want to go prison with? Go on, go. What time was the murder? That's what we're trying to figure out, Gabby. Sometime between 2:30 and 6. But probably around about 3:30. I think it was around about like 2:33 p.m. So I think like within that half hour. Okay, obviously Tegan has nothing to do with it. Nessa Warren. She dropped Kellen off at the manor at 2. and then went straight to her florist shop where she saw Melon. I don't think she would have had time to go and murder anybody between dropping Kellen off and then getting back to the shop for 2:30. I don't think so. So I'm going to rule her out. Carenza Tremaine. Didn't murder anybody, in my opinion. She spoke to Nessa at 4:30. She's just a sad, tired, pregnant lady. Okay. Well, that's that. Okay. Should I delete the lines of the people we think are above suspicion, guys, or leave them in there? Probably leave them in there. Okay, so Melon, from 2:30 p.m. onwards, I think is pretty much covered. Like, as in, like, the time when we're thinking the murder took place. I don't think she could have had time to go up to the Pole Stones and commit a murder, so I'm going to rule her out. Caddick Morgan was at the lawyer till 2:45. So one interesting thing I did note is that in this picture, you can see Caddick Morgan going into the pub. Which was at around 3:15, I think. 3:30. So what was he doing here at 3 o'clock? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, probably 3:30. Don't think he had time, did he? Probably not, but I don't know. The Moonraker Arms is here. Where's the lawyer's office on this map? Is that, one of these little shops? Haven Road? Yeah. I mean, potentially. He was at the lawyer's till 2:45. And then at 3:30 he's going into the pub. So that gives him 45 minutes. Walk back, compose yourself. And we know then he was in the pub after that point. So the only window he has is here. I know, if we could pinpoint the murder time more exactly, we could tell better. Agreed. Agreed. Okay, so Cordelia was at the Vickers at 3 talking to Len and then came home. Came home hanging out. We don't really have that confirmed. We only know that she was on the phone to Carenza Tremaine at 5:30. Continue to think about how much time would be needed. Well, okay, so let's have a think about that, because this whole thing was like pretty heavily set up. You know, there's like lots of like props and like a whole like kind of staging thing going on here. Yeah, so it takes 25 minutes to reach the circle on foot from the village. So 25 minutes there and then back is like an hour, basically. I think you would need a full hour to go up and back. That stuff was planted by Cedric or someone working for him, I think. Yeah. He does say a sturdy bicycle can be taken to the area, so if anyone did have a bike... Yeah, does anyone have a bike? That could speed things up. Okay, Theo I'm ruling out because he's a kid. Leonard Pascoe. I don't think he had anything to do with anything. James Penhaligon, I'm going to rule out because he's just a kid. Why would you mention the bicycle? From the center of the village, 25 minutes. Yeah. I still think Thomas. I think Thomas did it too, but I don't know. How long does it take to murder someone? I mean, not long. You just kind of got to go up and stab him. So here's my theory. Okay. Here's my theory. First, Cedric went up there and set up the whole murder scene. Cedric went up there and set up the whole murder scene. Thomas, do you know what? Actually, hang on. Thomas was pictured by the toy shop at 3:30. Oh, true. Oh wait, that goes in. No one can confirm that he was at the pub having a drink at 2. No one can confirm that because Thingamabobby, Caddick was out at 2. The murder could be a little earlier. He may have been up at the Stones. I don't know. So I was gonna say maybe like maybe he and Cedric sort of tag teamed it and Cedric set it up and then Thomas stabbed the guy. But I don't know. Unless we have a picture of him being at the pub drinking at 2:30. Do we have a picture of him drinking at the pub at 2:30? Oh, we do. Oh, we do. Okay, nah, never mind. That's a dead lead. Okay. Yeah, that's Thomas at the... Oh, no, wait, that's not 2:30. That's 4:30. Wait, no. Oh, my God. Oh, This picture is, wait. I lost it. This isn't 2:30. This is bloody 5:30 when Seth and Jory were there as well. Sorry. So no, it's not confirmed where he was at 2. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I wanted that. Left the pub, came back later, seen in a photo, maybe 2:40 p.m. at church with Cedric having a gossip. So if Cedric and Thomas were laying in wait at the Polstones for Blaze to come up there at 2:30, then they could have potentially, theoretically, been back here. I don't know if my timing works. I don't know if my timing works. Because they were seen here at about 2:40, 2:45. No, they were seen here about 2:45, Joe. So they would have had to murder him right on like 2:30. And then like race back here. I don't know. You think Cedric planted the stuff after the murder? Maybe. Cedric is accounted for... Cedric's only really accounted for from here, from 4 p.m. So he's accounted for from 4 p.m. He's unaccounted for from... Yeah. I'm going to say he was seen crossing the green maybe 2:45 p.m. So no, my timing doesn't work. My timing doesn't... I don't think my timing works for him having been there laying in wait. Maybe Cedric could have done it. Because if they left... if they left from here at 2:40, 2:45, crossed the green, went up there, killed the guy, and came back... I think the timing works for that. Because they could have easily gone up there. They could have been there by 3, I reckon. They could have been there by 3 or around 3, and then been back in the church, back at the church, talking in the crypt around 3:30. And this is just speculation, like from the boys, that they thought they heard Cedric talking in the crypt at the church. Cedric is like a junior minister. I always forget what the actual... Yeah, he's the creepy guy. Exactly. He also lives here, so his house is like... His house is very close to the Polstones up here. It was when the meeting was supposed to be. Then he planted all the other evidence of witchcraft and came back to town. Okay, I think it was Thomas and Cedric at 3 p.m. at the Polstones. They set it up to make it look like Rose and Nan Caro did it. Then they came back down to the church, talked about what they'd done in the crypt, and then went about the rest of their merry old day. That's my theory. That's my theory. That's what I'm saying, yes. Thomas was seen outside the toy store around 3:30. That's fine. That fits in with the timing. Do you happen to have a murder weapon on you, sir? You don't. Oh. Is it hiding in your house somewhere? Is there a knife? Yeah, no, oh, sorry, yeah, I know the screen is off. The screen is very zoomed in, so you guys could see the pictures better. Let me zoom it back out for you. Would he hide the murder weapon in his house, or would he have stashed it somewhere else? To get to the stones, they would have to set off around 2:40 at the very latest. Yep. Yeah, I think that's doable. I think that timing works. Oh, puppy. Hang on. Come on. If it takes 25 minutes to walk from here to the center of the village, then it would probably take about 25 minutes to walk from there to there as well, wouldn't it? Okay. Yeah, he was. Theory number 2. Theory number 2 is that it was... Oh, yeah, I was going to have a look at Cedric's relationships, actually. Wait a minute, I'm going to do that. Theory number 2 is that Adele and Richard did it. Because they were at the golf club, which is here, at 2:30. And then... Sorry, they were at the golf club here at 2:30. Not enough time. And then they could have murdered the guy, gone back to the golf club, and then she was seen... What road was she seen on when she was driving at speed? Are you friends with Richard Carline or Adele Penhaligon by any chance? No, you're not. Maybe on a hidden bicycle. Near to Cedric's house? Sorry, what are you talking about near to Cedric's house? Bet you could zip down that hill in just a few, yeah. Oh, is that where... Sorry. Is that where she was seen? Driving at speed at around... Yeah. Driving at speed just before 4. That was Brayok, wasn't it? Who saw her? Yeah, so Adele was seen driving fast, like, down this road and then heading back up to the manor just before 4. Maybe, Nini, maybe. But yeah, so theory number 2, okay, if my timing doesn't work for theory number 1, is that Richard Carline and Adele Penhaligon met at the golf club at 2:30 p.m. This is Richard Carline that I just loaded into, sorry. Oh, I just realized this is really small now. Let me make this bigger for you guys. They ducked over to the pole stones between 3 and 3:30. Murdered Blaze. Oh, no, that's okay, Gabby. You're fine. Theory number 1 was the butler, Thomas Cardew, and Cedric Chesney. But I don't think the timing works. So theory number 2 is that Adele and Richard did it in between 3 and 4 p.m. They were seen going into his room at the golf club at 2:30-ish. And then the next time we know where he was and what he was doing was 4 p.m. when he joined his golf partner for a round of golf. You don't have a murder weapon either. Okay, well, poo-poo you then. So is theory number 2 any better? I don't know. I just don't really see Richard Carline and Adele Penhaligon as murderers, though. I don't know. That one's hard for me. They were in bed? The whole hour and a half? Then there's Jory. Yeah, no, we eliminated Jory. I don't think it was Jory. Where's the clock? There's the clock. So they were in this room. Huh. Why is there a random tablet stashed there? Interesting. Caro Penhaligon is still left. Caro Penhaligon is still... Richard's an archaeologist. Yeah. Caro Penhaligon is still left. We have very little information about where he was after he left Davos, which was at 4. So if the murder took place a little later, he could have done it. Because he could have done it... Oh my gosh. My brain. It hurts. But yeah, he could have done it around like 4-ish. I mean, sorry, 4:35-ish. And then come home around 5. Because no one can verify that he was at the green, really. Where's my next button? There it is. We have this one picture of him being here. At 4. We have this one picture of him being here around 4. And then he arrives home at 10 past 5. Yeah? That's enough time. That's enough time. 'Cause he could have gone from here, the green. There's a picture before that. Before what? Before this time or before this picture? Jowan statement. What's this picture? Oh yeah, walking to the vicarage, right. How many people do you know who have correctly solved it? Clearly not me. Good lord. There's this one. Oh, there's a clock. Okay, there's a clock here. What time is that? 5:05? That's 5, right? That's just past 5? 5:05, yeah. Okay, so in this photo, he's outside. Here's Brayok spying on Rosen. Oh my gosh. So in this picture, he's outside the Hammett's place. And the Hammetts live here. So he potentially could have been walking back from somewhere. Brayok in the background. Yeah, Brayok spying on Rosen. So 5:05 Brayok is still tailing Rosen Nancaro, but we kind of knew that. So 5 p.m. 5 p.m. she was actually still collecting stuff near Hammett's place. Okay, and then Brayok. Yeah. Yeah. He was playing chess on the green from 4 p.m. and yelling at Verity/Jowan at 5:05. And that gives him an hour. If he stopped playing chess and went up to the pole stones and then came back. Or he was just playing chess on the green for an hour. From 4 p.m. sounds a little rushed given he arrived there after seeing David. Yeah. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. So not Caro then? I feel like I'm just eliminating everybody, but there's nobody left who could have done it. Oh dear. Oh, so we know Cedric was at the church at 4. Did I already know that? Did I already know that? I don't know. Yeah, went to the church to inspect some vandalism, talked to Caroline who wanted help. Okay. My top is Cedric, Thomas, and Caro? As in Caroline? Or Caro as in Caro Penhaligon, which is that. Is that who you mean? Okay, so if we eliminate Adele, I still don't know about that, but if we eliminate Adele, we know Cedric, I know. Cedric was involved, for sure. I just don't know how. Thomas was in for a beer at 4:30. Okay. Thomas, see, I don't think Thomas would have had time to go up to the pole stones and murder the guy. So... Okay. Caro... Jenna seems to be saying he wouldn't have had time to go up and murder him. Griselda Pasco, I guess. We don't really know. My theory, suicide. Who was said what? He would have trouble with that. Oh, do you mean Cedric talking to Caroline? Like here, in this picture? So Cedric and Caroline were chatting at 4:25 p.m. Oh, in the crypt. James told me about it. We don't know who he was talking to in the crypt. That was... So, have I got to figure out who he was talking to in the crypt? Do we need to go back in and... You can infer it? So are you saying that Griselda Pasco... No. What time was that? That was around 3:30? That the boys heard the crypt? The talking in the crypt? James and Theo. Right. Yeah, we were at school until 3:15. Then we went to my father's church. My dad's the vicar. Did you know that? It's very interesting because we think there's a ghost in Penhallagan crypt and we're investigating. James thinks it might be his mother, but I think it's Morgan Penhallagan. He was a pirate, drowned. There's a plaque in the church, but his body was never found. Blah, 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 blah. There was someone in the main crypt. I heard them talking. Yes, but that means there were at least 2 of them. They could have been ghosts, maybe some of Morgan's shipmates. That's right, we had tea with Mum and Dad's curate Cedric. One of the ghosts sounded a bit like him, as a matter of fact. This picture? Or this picture? Oh! I'll get a bigger version of it for you. That's Cedric and Thomas. Again. They also weren't in the crypt. So this is now 3:30 p.m. Because the boys thought they were talking from inside the crypt, but they actually weren't. They were talking over here, basically. You couldn't make a picture of them inside? Yeah, 3:30. In the crypt, talking to Thomas. But that doesn't make any sense. How could Thomas be in 2 places at once? If this is around 2:30, or like, I'm sorry, 3:30, or like maybe a bit after, because we don't know exactly what time the boys were talking. We just know that they went straight there from school. Why else would Cedric talk to Thomas? I don't know. But because Thomas was seen, at the toy shop. School finishes at 3:15? Yeah. I know. And then they've got to get from here up to here, which would take, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes. So, 3:20, I guess? Is there an hour after they were talking when they could have done it? Or do they each have an hour? One to do the murder and a second to set up the fake evidence. On the other hand, if it was later, what was Blaze doing up there? True, Joe. What was he doing up there for ages? That makes me think the murder happened right on about 2:30. Or like 3. 2:33. Yeah, earlier murder. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Plus, pretty much everybody is accounted for after about 4 p.m. Like, pretty much everybody. Even our main suspects are accounted for after about 4 p.m. So, I think it had to happen between 2:30 and 4. Like, that's my smaller murder window. I could even say everyone was pretty much accounted for from like 3:30 onwards. So between 2:30 and 3:30 was probably the window for the murder.
I still think theory 1. I don't know. Okay. Blaze wouldn't wait around to get murdered, yeah. I still think it was Thomas and Cedric, but I'm trying to work out how was, Jory was seen on the boat this early, Nini. You're absolutely correct. I still think it was Thomas and Cedric, but I just don't know how the timing works now. Again, Thomas. So can you find someone missing between 2 and 3 p.m.? Well, Thomas. Cordelia, potentially. Don't solve it without me. I don't think that's gonna happen. Eva? Caro was also missing before 2:40. Yeah, but he wouldn't have had time to get back down the hill, I don't think. By 2:40. Seth. Seth Nancaro. Alright. Thomas and Cedric hired Seth Nancaro to do it. Because we only know that Seth was on the green from about 3:30-ish. Yeah. Seth was also very defensive. I mean, rightfully so, because he's always being blamed for stuff. But, like, his statement was very much like, you can't pin this on me. There's no way you can pin this on me. And if Seth knew that Blaze was actually his father, which he may have known. So Seth is another one of Blaze's illegitimate children. Keep that in mind. Seth loves his mum. He wants his mum to be happy. He wants his mum to marry Jory Bascowan and live happily ever after. Maybe they could have hired him, convinced him, whatever, to go up there and stab the dude. Plus, he's a strong boy. And he would have the power to actually, overwhelm frail old Blaze Penhaligon. Haha, no worries, Gabby. Enjoy the rest of your work day. It was one person. Well, I think it has to be Seth then. Did the killing. Yeah, but that doesn't mean it was only one person that was involved in the whole scheme. Does it? Yeah, only one person stabbed the guy, but he could have been hired to do it. And Thomas and, yeah, Seth has very little on him, exactly. Cordelia or Eva might not have been able to overcome Blaze by strength.
So was it Seth Nancaro acting on behalf of Cedric and Thomas? When was Seth seen at the Green? Let me see if I can figure that out. So... Oh, actually, you know what? Seth was seen at the Green talking to Caroline. In someone's picture. I don't exactly remember whose. That's later. Yeah, that's later on. Here. I think this is the only picture we have of Seth at the Green. And he's, telling... he's telling Caroline Penhaligon something very shocking. Cedric's crossing the Green. Griselda's statement, what time was this? We don't know what time this was, Jenna, because you told me I was wrong. I thought this was about between 2:45 and 3. When Griselda first arrived at the Green after her shopping. Yes, Seth is one of Blaze's illegitimate children. Yes. It could have been earlier than that. So, wait, so... But that all depends on who's his mother, Rosen Nancaro. Seth was the first of Blaze's illegitimate children. Who am I looking for here? I've forgotten what I was doing. Yeah, so she was at the pharmacy at 2. Maybe he's telling her... Oh, Caroline was being shocked at being discovered with Seth. She was at the pharmacy at 2, then she went for the bakery. Then she could have gotten to the, She could have gotten to the Green at 2:30, I guess. Maybe. And then maybe he left from there and went up to the Polstones and did the murder at 3. Except that doesn't make any sense, because then he was at the docks by 4. Oh, no! I think. What time did he meet Thingo at the docks? 4, yeah. What was his motive? That's what I was just talking about that. He might not have had a motive. He might have just been hired to be the guy who did the killing. Takes longer to get to the docks too, yeah. I don't know. Okay. I don't know the answer. I've been streaming now for 3 hours and 40 minutes and it's late and I need to go to bed and I'm really frustrated because I can't crack this case. So do we all wanna sleep on this? Or do we just want to beg Jenna to just tell us who done it? Just tell me. I have to stop. It's late and I'm tired. Let's sleep on it. Can I upload this sheet? Yeah, I can. I can put this on the Discord. Definitely. upload sheet and see where you get to as a group. Okay, wait. I'll just chuck it onto Discord now. So I'll put it in Sims 2 General. Okay. Sims Tools. There you go, everybody. It's now in Discord. You can all look at it and struggle with me. I'm tempted to tell you, but you've all had some good logical thoughts and are nearly there. Sleeping and coming back to it might be a good idea. But, like, I want to know. I need to flip to the end of the book and find out because I'm tired and I want to know. I'm not going to be able to sleep. It's going to bother me. Okay. Send you a proposal, but you already know my proposals. You already know what I think and you keep telling me I'm wrong. I don't have any other proposals. I'm tired. And I'm sad. I really wanted to, in the interim, you might have a hunt for the murder weapon. Yeah, I was thinking about doing that. I really wanted to solve it tonight. I really did. I really did. I knew there was a knife. Yeah. Alright, guys. Well, I'm gonna call it. This has almost been 4 hours of me just puzzling over this bloody murder. It's hidden. Yeah. Yeah, I figured. I think I want to check the church quite thoroughly. Maybe to see if I can find the knife. I did really well. Thanks, Jenna. We need a stream to find the knife. You really are nearly there. Knife hunt. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me for 3 hours and 45 minutes. puzzling over a spreadsheet going, why? Next Wednesday, we will go on a murder weapon hunt. Okay, everybody? And we will crack this case. The manor would probably be another good place to check for the murder weapon. All right, guys, I'm going to let you all go to bed. I love you so much. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope that you enjoyed this stream of me just getting increasingly frustrated. And I will see you all on the weekend for Medieval Sims 2. And then, yeah, next Wednesday morning to solve this murder. Okay, guys. Good night, everybody. Take care.